starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome in to Thursday's edition of The Big Show on your Total Sports Station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here. What's up?
You good?
I'm good.
Thursday, the third day.
It is the third day for sure. But either way,
It's not.
I mean, anyway,
You good over there?
I am good over there. I am good over there. I'm just psyched
that's
for
a Friends reference, by the way. The third day,
the third day.
because he said Monday, one day, Tuesday, Tuesdays, Wednesday, who? What day? Thursday, the third day. Anyway,
we'll talk. I guess more about that. I'm just psyched for top five, bottom five. I guess that's it. I guess that's it.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to talk more about that. We'll probably talk more about top five, bottom five.
I'm ready for mine. Are you?
No, but I can promise you one thing. There will be 5 teams at the top, and there will be 5 teams at the bottom. By the time I'm through, I will have named 10 teams. Stick around 2 hours, and you'll learn some things. But no, as of the moment, I don't know who mine are going to be.
Well, I guess that's the suspense that will be kept in 875 KTGR if you want to give us your top 5, bottom 5 MLB teams. In the meantime, who would you trade today if you are on the Cardinals and Royals? We know the trade deadline's in a few days. But if it were tomorrow, who would you decide to trade away? Call or text us 875 KTGR. And I'm interested by Bill Connolly, our good friend over at ESPN, his idea that he's throwing out there for college football playoff expansion. We're going to discuss that at 5:05. Call or text us with that at 875 KTGR as well. You can also tweet us at KTGR Big Show and find us on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
With the All-Star break ending tomorrow, I think it's interesting now that the Cardinals and Royals are in a spot where, I think they know where they're going to be at as far as their intentions at the trade deadline. Maybe things change a little bit for the Cardinals, but I don't think a whole lot will as far as the stretch that they're going to be in. They're not going to have an off day until after the trade deadline is passed. And so at 50 and 45, you're probably already looking at who is most likely going to be the teams that are calling about come the trade deadline. So let's put it together now. What would be your list today that you would have to predict as far as who is being traded away from both the Cardinals and the Royals, if in fact those decisions had to be made over the weekend, let's say? That's the Big Show's big deal on this 16th day of July 2026. You can give us a call or a text here at 573-875-KTGR. I know it's still several more days away than what we're talking about. But Brenda, I don't know how much will necessarily change from the Cardinals front as to who they would be targeting as the guys that they want to use to get assets at the trade deadline. So I kind of think they would know right away now what their target would be come August 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they know what their target would be so much as they know who, or they have a good idea of who teams are liable to be calling about, and the degree to which that they want to aggressively not just answer those calls, but be pretty willing to have the end result of those calls be something that leads to them trading away players from their active roster, players that are contributing to their potential postseason push, right? If they're going to be doing that. So I think the way that it plays out is that the Cardinals, whatever they do in these games coming up, I've made my claim already on this show that it's not necessarily something that's going to change the direction. I think the only thing that changes the direction is the individual pieces and parts that other teams have interest in. The level to which the Cardinals are going to say, oh, I'm going to take a 7 out of 10 offer on that guy. Or no, because we're playing better, I might need an 8 or a 9 out of 10 offer on that guy because I could go ahead and hold that guy and use that guy through. Like maybe there's some small change in the thinking based on a drastic swing to their standing. But I think even if they go on a great run and perform really well, I still think they're going to be listening on those calls for the same players that they'd be listening on if it were, a losing skid out of the All-Star break. So, yeah, I've seen the takes already. They will be coming more and more. I saw it from Ken Rosenthal today on Foul Territory. The post of the little clip that they posted on their podcast says the Cardinals don't have enough for a playoff push, but are going to go for it. I know Ken didn't write that. Whoever wrote that clip for Foul Territory, I don't think they should have written it that way because it's not true in my opinion. They're not going to go for it. Go for it means, and Rosenthal in this clip even said, like, yeah, they're in it and they don't really want to, but they can't sell and they might have to add. Like, I don't know where he's getting that. Ken Rosenthal is obviously as respected of a name as there is in this industry. I don't agree with him. I don't think that's where the Cardinals are going to be. We've heard it from Chaim Bloom. We've heard it from Bill DeWitt Jr. We've heard it from Bill DeWitt III. They're not going to be buying in the sense of adding rental players. So the degree to which they sell or the degree to which that they can find creative solutions to add players that it looks kind of like a buy, but then you can actually look deeper and say, oh, that's going to help them next year too.
Right.
Those are the moves that are in play, but selling short-term names could still end up being what happens.
So we'll see what it all looks like from the Cardinals' end. I would just say the most likely name is going to be Dustin May. From all of this, I don't know if you disagree. Like it's just like that. That's the guy that is most likely to be not a Cardinal on August 4th. And helping somebody else in their rotation. It just seems like the most logical spot because the starting pitching market always ramps up around this time. And typically, even if the Cardinals are not flabbergasted by the deal, I guess they need to be, but at the same time, it would probably still be to their benefit to get something for him if, in fact, they want to open up spots potentially and not obviously bring him back next year on a larger deal to the point where, like, you also want to make sure that Quinn Matthews has his chance to earn a spot and other guys that are coming up in the rotation. So to me, it seems like that's the most likely one, but I don't know about
yes. I would agree that, and look, a lot of things could happen. He could have an injury that makes him not a great sell at the deadline. He could pitch poorly, and then you're a little bit skeptical about the return. He could pitch really well, but I think pitching really well makes him more likely to be traded. Like, all I can do is prognosticate and kind of predict and read the tea leaves and read what we're hearing from the team and interpret it. I may have a different take than others. Like, this is going to be silly season where talk is going to ramp up, and there will be those like Ken Rosenthal right now who are talking about the Cardinals as though they're going to obviously be buying to try to go for it. We're going to find out. That's the beauty of it, is like at the end of a couple of weeks, we get to find out. But all I can do is tell you what I think is going to happen. And I do not agree. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be going for it. I think they're more inclined to buy while they sell while they buy. And a name like Dustin May, unless they work out like an extension with him prior to the deadline where they say, hey, we know we've got this $20 million mutual. We want to give you a little bit more on top of that, so that it incentivizes you to sign on the dotted line if we want to keep you around. Like, they've shown a willingness to spend some money with JJ Weatherholt. Maybe they feel Dustin May is part of that. My read is that it's more likely if he has a neutral next 2 weeks that going into the deadline, the Cardinals will be listening to offers on him. And if they get one that's compelling, that helps them move forward in their ultimate goal, then they take that deal and they put Hunter Dobbins into the rotation. That's the other part of this. Or Quinn Matthews, by the way, I think is going to get a look at some point. So you've got guys that you want to get a look at anyway. True serum, I think the day the Cardinals signed Dustin May, if they had the true serum, they would have told you that by August 3rd, the best case scenario is he's a trade chip for us where we're getting a good prospect because he has a healthy first half and we can capitalize on that. And that's just pretty much happened. And so even though the team's 5 games over 500, I don't think they're going to view this like a traditional buyer, like they might have viewed it, in years past where they're trying to get over the hump. Like, that's never the speed or tenor of the season. So that's the name that I think is the most easily, you can imagine it the most easily, because unless you count that mutual option, which it's hard to do because of the factors behind that, he is a rental, and therefore you get what you can, I think, in a market that was starting pitching that should be robust. The next name on the list, if I'm going down the list of likelihood, Jojo Romero is a rental, pure and simple.
Yeah.
And he's a guy with late inning experience from the left side. I cannot imagine that, a handful, 12 to 15 contending hopefuls would look at that and not have some level of interest. Like, I think he would be a name that teams who need bullpen help, especially if they could use another lefty. Jojo can pitch. He's very versatile. He's 7th, 8th, 9th inning, can give you an up down, can pitch 2 innings. Like, he can do a few different things for you and has the experience, cool under pressure. I think that's a guy that, as much as I think he helps the Cardinals, I just think with rental players right now, it makes the most sense to go ahead, and if there's a good quality offer, if nobody offers on Jojo Romero, you don't give him away, but you have to be listening on those types of players in the way that the Cardinals have described their season. So Jojo to me is the next one because of his contract status. And then you can get into guys that have an additional year. Lars Nootbaar is on that list. I think he might be more likely to be traded than O'Brien simply because of the Josh Baez factor, that the Cardinals might say, if we don't think in this moment that we can sign Newt long-term, then maybe now's the time to get a look at Baez. And if there's a good offer on Nootbaar, we take it for that reason. O'Brien's tricky because you don't have a lot of the guys that you trust to be late inning relievers. Like at the beginning of the year, you would have thought Matt Swanson could step in. Like probably at this point, it'd be George Soriano for the 9th, but then you got to have somebody pitch in George Soriano's role.
Yeah.
And like, they're not going to completely give up on the season. So I think those positions where you do have a ready-made replacement, like a Nootbaar for a Josh Baez or like a Dustin May for a Hunter Dobbins or Quinn Matthews, are the easiest ones to imagine. Even Romero's tough because I don't think they have another lefty. They have to decide on Scott Blewett actually in the next couple of days because he requested an opt-out of his AAA contract if they don't put him on the 40-man inactive roster. So that's maybe a situation where, like, if I'm the Cardinals, I would probably have him in my bullpen tomorrow just because I would want to see the look at another lefty, because what if it works out? All right. If it works out, 1, you could flip him. 2, you could flip Jojo Romero if he's got value and try Blewett in that lefty role. The things the Cardinals are doing are going to be with long-term view unless they really surprise me and decide to get greedy. But I just think you're talking about May, you're talking about Romero, and potentially Lars Nootbaar, although I think the offer on that's going to have to be a little bit more robust because he is helping them win baseball games, and he is not a rental player.
Call or text us 875-KTGR. Who would you essentially want to see be traded from the Cardinals come the trade deadline? And who would you do it for today if, in fact, the trade deadline was sometime this weekend and you had to make that decision now? It seems very cut and dry from that aspect of it, that the Cardinals, they wouldn't necessarily be seeking out any chance to flip another one of their players for like long-term prospects or things like that. That's really the bucket of just those 3-ish guys. Is there anybody though that like let's say there is a chance for the Cardinals to get somebody who is cost controlled that helps their team, like it is seen as a buy move, but it's not a rental. It's not a 2-month thing. It's not something like that. Who on the current team are you willing to say, all right, I'm okay using this piece to make sure that this deal works so that we can get this other player?
If you're saying like they can make one of those creative buy moves for a guy under team control.
Right. Yeah.
Like you're looking at the catching depth. I feel like you're looking at if other teams are interested in any of, if it's Jimmy Crooks or a Pedro Pajes or, Pozo's in AAA. I don't think you're really getting interest in him, but like a Leo Bernal, that's a catcher as well. Like I think between Bernal, Pajes, and Crooks, you could trade any one of those names from an organizational standpoint if it accomplishes a goal. Now, I don't know. I'm not 29 other teams ranking those players, so I don't know how the league would view them. I would say that, like, to me, Bernal would almost feel like the guy that teams would like just because they haven't seen him fail at the big league level.
Right.
Or a team that's like a contender but could use a good veteran kind of defense first backstop. Like Pages might be intriguing to those type of teams who, may decide they feel the same way about his defense as the Cardinals do. Crooks, there's hope, I think, for more out of the bat. So if teams think they're buying low and they see something there, then that could be. But I'll be honest, like, I don't think any of those three guys have a ton of value. So I don't know that, like, it would take some creativity. You might be talking about a third base capable defender that is down on his luck offensively. Would you do a trade of that ilk, like a Bernal or a Pages or a Jimmy Crooks, for a player like that is not maybe that different than what you got in Nolan Gorman? But if you just are seeing what he's doing in Memphis and you're like, it's not like, we don't think it's going to work. And maybe you've seen Blaze Jordan crash down to earth a little bit. Maybe you say, like, it could help us this year to plug in player X at third base, and it's going to cost us one of our catchers, but, like, we're not really using all our catchers. I could see that. And would you have to add a prospect into that? I think it depends on the player that you're talking about getting back. But, like, yeah, I don't know. These trades, when they do happen, they seem to sometimes kind of come out of nowhere. Up in the press box, we've talked about, writers and reporters are just kind of shooting the breeze, talking about different names. I'll throw out an example of the type of player I'd be talking about. Detroit Tigers third baseman Colt Keith is sitting there with an 89 OPS plus, a 685 OPS. He's hitting 245, 8 home runs, but only 53 strikeouts in 272 plate appearances. Doesn't strike out a ton. He's a guy that is in his, third year. He's 24 years old, a lot of team control. So, like, I don't know what the Tigers need. I have no idea. But if you had, if they say, yeah, we want one of these catchers, or we want to, we want this, we'll trade a prospect to do this, because the Cardinals are saying that's not us trying to improve for today. It's us trying to improve for the long haul. Like, in a world where the Detroit Tigers have a scout that says, hey, this guy that used to be a top prospect, but he's they haven't been able to figure out the velocity with him in AAA, but we think we can turn him into a pretty good wipeout reliever. Would you trade Tink Hence for him? Yeah, absolutely would, in my opinion, because I have no idea if Tink Hence is going to make it. Yeah. Like, that sort of idea is the theme. I don't know from either side. I hate playing this game because we don't know what teams want or need or what they think about or evaluate certain players to be. But 2 years ago, you would have said, I'm not trading Tink Hence for anything. And now I'm like, I don't know. It's either that or bring him up or take him off the 40-man because it's not working. Like, at some point, you're going to try to figure out a way to utilize those spots. Do you have to throw in a replacement like a Blaze Jordan to a trade like that? Do you have to throw in a Jose Fermin? I wouldn't like to see that. Blaze Jordan, I could see, more applicable if another team feels like he's got value. But I think people would be surprised at the level of variance in the way you might view a player's trade value versus what an MLB team that hasn't been getting attached to this guy. Because there would be Cardinals fans who would tell you can't trade Blaze Jordan. Like, he's a young player. He's exciting. Yeah, maybe he is. Maybe he's not. That's the game, though. Like, yeah. So finding those types of deals for a Colt Keith or another third baseman that's hitting kind of lackluster. But, like, wouldn't you say a guy who isn't going, strikes out 100 times in a year instead of 200 for a 680 OPS, but he plays solid third base defense and has team control? I would put Gorman in that deal. Like, I would go try to get a guy like that if he's available. You have to the Tigers, you'd have to say, here's some upside that I can offer you to take away this, this piece from your roster. But, like, that's the idea, I think, behind the deals I'd be looking for if I'm the Cardinals. It would be creative. When we see it come across the wire, we would go, hey, that costs us something, but that's interesting. They're trying. Like, those types of trades could happen, but a strict buy of a rental, I really do not see it. And I'm surprised, honestly, the degree to which national folks are still kind of beating that drum. If that ends up being that they're right and I was wrong, I'll crack the egg over my head and say I was wrong. But I just can only tell you what I believe to be the case based on my own understanding of where they're at.
Well, again, a lot of time it could be that they are plugged in on it, but sometimes they're just reading standings and being like, well, teams in this spot usually do have to buy because the Cardinals are only a game out of first place.
Is so plugged in, like, there's no way that's all it is. So, we'll see. Like, this is going to be, I feel like I say this, Andy, almost every year, of like the most fascinating deadline for the Cardinals, but, like, this one really does feel that way, and that they could try to make moves that keep them chugging down the path Or they could say, hey, guys, you're not going to love it, but we did trade Dustin May, but here's what we got, Or they might not get those type of offers, and they have to decide, do the deadlines look a little bit more like the last two, where you're in the mix-ish, but you're trading away those short-term guys into trying to stock up the farm. Like, that's kind of where they're at, in my opinion.
Call or text us 875-KTGR here on The Big Show if you want to weigh in on who from the Cardinals should be traded away during this trade deadline period. On the Royals side, I mean, you know the direction that they have to take. That there is no climbing back into this thing, even in a weak American League. There is not really any reason for the Royals to be buying anybody. And it makes the sell very interesting because there's really no reason at all that anybody wants one of your one-year guys to be keeping him on your team. So if anybody wants Lane Thomas, yes, the Royals should say, yeah, take Lane Thomas. Make us an offer. If anybody wants John Schreiber, yes. If anybody wants Matt Strahm or Starling Marte, great. But I don't know how many teams would want those players, And so, like, Lane Thomas will probably draw some interest, I think. He started to pick up the numbers a little more.
Yeah, because he's a platoony guy. That's the main thing, is a platoony guy that can play all the outfield spots is like a tailor-made playoff bench type of piece. So teams should be willing to give up their 15th best prospect for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to kind of say, hey, if I don't have this piece on my bench, now I do. Like, those are teams that are playing from luxury because they have really good rosters that could just use a piece. Like, those deals make sense for both sides. So I would think that would be, is he under a longer contract, or was that just this year?
Nope, just 1 year deal. That's it.
Yeah, then he should be moved. But some of those other guys, like Schreiber, I don't know his numbers off the top of my head, but if you're talking about lackluster guys with, I don't know, sometimes you can take or leave those.
It's from their bullpen, because no one's really going to be clamoring for Lucas Urseg the way things have gone this year for him, unfortunately. And he's got
buy low if they did.
Yeah. And I don't think that it even behooves the Royals, because maybe you're just seeing out what Lucas Urseg is if he somehow figures it back out and is a key reliever for them down the line. You've got team control, you've got cost control, everything like that. So you don't really put him on the market. And then maybe even the same thing for Noah Cameron. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with him too. Like, maybe he figures something, is able to get the upswing back from whatever teams figured out from him this year. Maybe he's able to adjust and find ways to be effective in years down the line. Lord knows that the Royals rotation, like, again, it might need some help down the line, more so than we thought it needed for the long term, because then the question becomes like, okay, do you include Michael Wacha in this conversation? And I think that's a harder one even for the Royals to try and formulate, because teams might want him. He's been pitching well this year, but the contract's going to be the question. So that might water down your return. Do the Royals want to stomach that, is the question.
Yeah, because he's getting paid for a couple more years?
Yeah, next year, $17 million, and then there's a club option for 2028.
Okay, so that
it's
helps.
a 2-year deal.
The fact that it's a club option, like, that's not a bogged down type of conversation in a trade. That's like, it benefits the team to have it. But next year is like guaranteed salary that you have to pay Michael Wacha. And like, I think he's going to be worth $17 million next year. So I don't know. I think that's a guy that it's more telling if you're the Royals if you move him, because that says like, okay, that's a rotation spot that you have to account for in 2027. Does that mean that you think this is going to take longer to get it back on track? Which, I don't know. If you look at the record, it would indicate that, like, yes, it will take longer to get back on track because they're nowhere close. But with the names on their roster from a position player standpoint, you would like to think that they're up and coming and maybe not that far away. But I don't know, Andy. It might be that they've got half a lineup and they don't really have, like, we've talked about the pitching injuries and the problems on that side, but it may be too that, like, we can look at where we are and we don't have a full complement of position players that have panned out. We've got Bobby Witt, we've got Caglione, and we've got a busted Vinny P right now, and Salvi's going to be done soon. So yeah, they might not be close, man. It's disappointing to see where they have gone to, and I think for that reason you have to consider these sell moves, but it doesn't feel good. And I had a lot more confidence in this front office this time last year than I do sitting here right now talking about the Royals.
Yeah, because after this, no one should feel Like, it's not to say that you need to fire JJ Piccolo. I don't think they need to
Right.
do that after this, but no one should feel safe in their job
And there
after
should be-
a year like this. Nobody at all.
They should have to answer a little bit for why it's gone off the rails. Okay, if it's not your job at stake, and we agree, it doesn't have to be that drastic. Why? What is it? What
Right.
went wrong?
Yeah.
You tell us what it is that happened here that explains it and how you're going to fix it. I think that should be kind of where the Royals are at, because you do not want to be wasting these prime Bobby Witt Jr. years, in my opinion.
So, like, there are some pretty obvious options that the Royals can use in their bullpen, like Matt Strahm, John Schreiber, expiring deals. If somebody wants them, they can probably take them. Maybe you even take it a step further and you go with guys like Daniel Lynch or Alex Lang, who have been in closing situations this year, and you try to maximize your return from whatever your bullpen's able to give you. But the question becomes, how much does the sell-off hurt us in 2027 for the Royals based on how far they want to go? So that'll be interesting. Call or text us 875-KTGR. If you're a Royals fan, tell us who you would want to see them trade in the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, we're going to discuss our top 5, bottom 5 MLB teams. We'll start positively. The top 5, how we are updating that from the last time we did it last month here on The Big Show, KTGR.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR. Teachers, you're the real all-stars. But every school year, you're stuck having to pay out of your own pockets to fully stock your classrooms. Let's change that. KTGR's Clear the List is giving Mid-Missouri teachers a chance to get the supplies they need for their students. Submit your school supply wish list at ktgr.com. We'll post it, and listeners can help stock your classroom by purchasing items directly from your list. If you're a teacher, get your list in now at ktgr.com. KTGR's Clear the List, thanks in part to AI Painting Plus.
Epic Bug Battle Raps. Brown Recluse versus Tick Fight.
Yo, Tick, you think you're sly, but you're an amateur fighter. I'm a brown recluse spider, spitting venom, cause I'm a better biter. You codependent loser, latching on skin. I wish we were related. You a lame arachnid. So sit back and relax while I bust on your bloodbath. I weave a web of truth. You're just needing a feeding and getting fat. Be ready for defeat when we meet, cause all it takes to kill you is a couple minutes inside a dryer on high heat. Listen, Charlotte, while you're weaving your web, I'll be burying my body inside another host to go and get fed. You want to talk dead? Who are you? Once you're found, all a human has to do is grab a shoe. Now you're squished, you won't be missed in your wish. Instead of 6 eyes, you had 9 lives and carry disease like Lyme. When people pop their shirts off and come looking for me, who's really the better bug when it comes to hide and seek?
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business, Steve's Pest Control.
Summer heat can put extra stress on your irrigation system. And if your controller settings aren't adjusted properly, you can end up with an unhealthy lawn. That's why now is the perfect time for a professional system check from Lubring Irrigation Services. From adjusting controllers for summer conditions to sprinkler alignment, Lubring helps keep your system running at its best. No shortcuts, no guesswork, just quality work that lasts. Call the pros who do it every day at LubringIrrigation.com.
It's going to be a long, hot summer again. I wish I could wear shorts.
If this sounds like you, you're not alone. Hi, this is Dr. Michael Ryan with Missouri Vein Care. Vein treatments not only help your legs feel better, but also look better. Most people with visible veins are covered by insurance because it's also a circulation problem. No more excuses. Enjoy your summers again with shorts and sunshine. Schedule your free vein screening at MissouriVeinCare.com and get back to normal.
Imagine a marketing tool for your business that will keep your current customers coming back while adding new ones in the process. It can happen when you offer gift certificates on shopmidmo.com. You'll build your customer base, keep top of mind, help people save money, and they'll love you for it. Shopmidmo.com is the perfect place for restaurants, retail, and entertainment experiences to build their foundation. Join the family of businesses having success making new customers and keeping their current ones happy. Contact us now at shopmidmo.com.
Shopmidmo.com.
Hi, this is Joanne. We've had our homeowner's insurance with Phyllis Nichols since she became a State Farm agent in 1996. After a storm came through, she turned the claim in on our behalf. When there was a hiccup with the claim process, she or the team were available to get the process running smoothly again. They updated the homeowner's policy with the new roof date and ensured the qualified shingle discount was added. Phyllis and her team remembered to ask about life events that we don't remember to tell them.
Life is loud, chaotic, hilarious, and occasionally peaceful. Your life fits you, so why settle for life insurance that fits someone else? At Shelter Insurance, our local agents help you design a personal protection plan backed by award-winning customer service. We're your shield. We're your shelter. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call me, Valerie Nenechuk, 573-615-4090, 615-4090.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
So which Cardinals, which Royals would you trade if you had to today? 875 KTGR here on The Big Show if you want to weigh in and tell us who you think should be traded away in a couple of weeks. August 3rd, that just seems late. Seems late, man.
Well, it is later than it normally is. Usually we see July 31, August 1st. I think it kind of falls on like a weekend, so they move it to the Monday.
Right.
Is that what August 3rd is, I think? So
August 3rd's a Monday. July, they usually have it earlier in a week. July 30th is a Thursday. The 31st
is a Friday, so they wouldn't want to do that. So I think that's why it got bumped. But I don't know, gives teams a little bit extra time to decide what they want to do, but that can make for a busy weekend right there before the end. So, but it's a few days later than we normally see it.
We'll see what the Cardinals and Royals do through all of that. In the meantime, who are our top 5 MLB teams right now? Not a bad time to do it at the trade deadline, as we updated it from a month ago. And I'll just say what mine were. It was Dodgers, Braves, Yankees, Brewers, Rays a month ago.
Yeah, I don't think the teams are going to be that different than that. The order might be maybe slightly different, but I'm still having a hard time going like, okay, so there's a team that maybe has a better record by a game or two, but am I really going to change my opinion on who I know to be the top team based on that? Or, if it's not a drastic difference in what we've seen, like there's one team that I dropped down, not as much because of their record, although I think record wise, it's kind of where they would fit in anyway. But like I also seeing the teams play, do I get caught up a little bit more in recency of that and moving a team down? Like I'll say, I don't know where I had the Braves last time, but I think they're going to be still on my list, but more toward the bottom of it just because of the way that we've seen it. But I could also hear arguments that's like, yeah, I don't know if they're even in the top 5 anymore, just because it's been, I don't know, a month plus where we haven't really seen them be the same team.
They've kept the line moving, I suppose, like maybe played 500 baseball from that point to now, or maybe a little worse.
Yeah, like in the last month or month and a half or whatever, it's been kind of like middle of the pack. And we saw the Cardinals beat them 4 out of 6, and so that's kind of in my mind too, where I'm like, well, Cardinals aren't on my list, and they handled the Braves kind of easily in a way that I didn't expect.
I'm going from the bottom, not the bottom, the top from the top team first, and then down to number 5. There is one new team in my list. I'll get to it, but the Dodgers are still number 1. I mean, there's
me too,
no question whatsoever.
And they have the best winning percentage as well. So it's not even like I have to break a tie based on that. It's just like they got the best record and 2-time defending champions. I'm seeing that they've lost their last 3 games. I do not care.
Don't care.
Just they're going to be.
They get swept by.
I don't know. Whatever the answer is, it wouldn't change my opinion.
They get the Yankees this weekend, so
that'll be fun.
Be a fun series as that's coming up.
And the Yankees are second in their division.
Correct.
3 games back.
Yeah.
But do they end up appearing on our list?
I guess we'll find out. They're not my number 2. I can tell you that.
They're not your number 2. Okay,
no.
Who do you got?
The Brewers.
Talk to me about the Brewers.
I had them 4th last time.
Yeah.
And since then, I feel like they've skyrocketed even more.
They've also lost 3 in a row, which is weird, but I think they were playing the Pirates, like,
right.
of all things, to get beaten 3 in a row. But
That almost strengthens my argument that the fact that like that little weekend dragged down their record to only 59 and 37. Like
they're a wagon.
Yeah, they always do this. Can I name you 10 Brewers? No, but like they do this every year. I can name you one, Lance McCullers. Now that's happened.
Oh, and by the way, they always do this as well.
Right.
And I'm not ripping on the Cardinals because I get where they're coming from. But at that press conference when they introduced Bill DeWitt III and they got a few questions about the trade deadline, and they're like, we always get these questions this early. Trades don't start earlier. It's always that last week before. There are a few teams that they don't care about what the calendar tells them if they think they can make improvements.
Yeah.
Cardinals could learn from the Brewers in that regard because the Brewers make trades in June and July all the time before the very bitter end of that deadline period. So I know that's like the more traditional way, but if you trust in your evaluation and your relationships across the sport, I don't think there's this rule that you have to wait until right before the deadline. Yes, deadline does inspire action. And if you're in the Cardinals situation of you may be looking to sell some names, you want the peak amount of competition for those names. Totally get that. But like the Brewers said, you know what? Lance McCullers Jr. can help us win, and we need some pitching in this regard, which they really don't, but that's never stopped them before. Like they are a very well-run organization, and McCullers was disappointing, obviously, with injuries with Houston. And so, Andy, I don't know your thoughts on the return of that trade, but they decided we're doing a deal.
I don't even know if it was even initiated by the Brewers. I think it was just a salary dump by the Astros. Like they wanted that money off their books so that they could potentially use a little more money this year to maybe get somebody to help their team. And they knew that McCullers there are still injury concerns. He's coming. He's still on the injured list right now. He hasn't pitched in a big league game since May. But he has been rehabbing, and like there's a track for him to pitch the rest of the year. But like the return was just Prince Fielder's son, and that's it. And there was even a player going with McCullers to the Brewers, and it's like the main trade chip that the Brewers could offer was money, and even then the Astros are still paying down some of the salary. So
it's savvy. They basically said, this guy, we can fix pitchers. We do it all the time. And if we can get him healthy, he's going to contribute.
Yep.
And so I give him credit for that because in a world where like the MO of the Cardinals is like, toward the end, that's when the action's really going to start. Totally fine. I'm not, like I said, not ripping them for that. But I consider the Brewers to be the class of the division because of things like this. Not only because of things like this, but I love that willingness to say, we can think outside the box a little bit if we can do something that we think will help us, and ownership clearly on board to say, okay, we're taking on a little bit more salary to do this, but it's worth it because we're trying to make it deep into October and all the pitching, all hands on deck, right? Have as many possibilities as you can have. And that's what they've done with that deal. So I do agree that they're highly ranked on this list. I still look at them and go, October, what are we going to get?
Sure. Mixed bag. Like so far it's been blah once they get to that point. But I don't know. I mean, they shouldn't be playing in a wild card series this time around and would have a chance to set up their pitching a little more against a team that would have to expend their pitching a little more. So maybe they get a bump from that. I still just see them as so well-rounded and covering up any holes that they might appear to have with their development and their coaching and everything like that. So I still have them as second best.
I was really trying to put somebody in this spot instead of them. The Brewers, from a record standpoint, do have the second best record. And I was trying to find a way to kind of dock them for the fact that I don't know when we get to October what's going to happen. But I do think, to their credit, in that type of trade that we talk about, they're setting themselves up to try to be ready for it. I was inclined to say the Yankees here, actually, even though they're not in first in their own division. They're within striking distance of the Rays, and it goes back to that notion of like, I do think they've got a little bit more firepower when you get to the playoffs. And they are playing well recently with winners of 4 straight. Boston, by the way, winning 9 in a row to get to a point where they're now just 2 games below 500 in a weak American League. That is going to be an interesting story to monitor. Like the wild card situation in the AL is going to be fascinating. Long story short, I think almost reluctantly I'll go Brewers second because when I line it up, I do trust them more than I trust any other National League team besides the Dodgers. And so, like, I'm not going to go Braves or Phillies above them. And I'm not going to go Cubs. And, like, it doesn't really matter what the American League teams have to say about it because we probably won't see the Brewers play those teams because the Brewers will lose to Dodgers. And it doesn't matter if I'm ordering these teams properly. But I will go Yankees number 3, and I'll do it above the Rays because, again, I want to see the Rays. I think the Rays and Brewers are, like, very similar model organizations.
Yeah.
But, like, with both those organizations, I want to see that playoff dominance before I am like, unless they just get to a point where they're so far ahead, like Brewers start passing up the Dodgers, then I'll be really feeling it. Same thing with the Rays. But for now, I think I'll go Yankees actually number 3 as the team from the AL that I think is most well positioned to go to the World Series. That's the Yankees for me right now.
The Braves are 3 for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I don't know. I'm still kind of back and forth on them of if they're even in my top 5 because of the recency.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the Cardinals did well against them. Cardinals are a pretty good team. Like,
it's frankly, my number 5 team is going to either be the Braves or the Phillies.
Yeah,
and like I'm kind of calling my shot on that division. Cubs get some consideration, but I don't think they can be a divisional winner.
Yeah,
and so I'm not really looking in their direction. But talk up the Braves for me on why I should be not dismissing them to the level that I kind of am.
Well, again, good solid record against above 500 teams. Being able to stack pitching even when they've had pitching injuries has still been impressive to me. And if they get healthier, then they become dangerous. So that's kind of where I base a lot of it. It's a big if, but they have the staff. They've got the experience of players that aren't that don't shy away from the playoffs, that have been able to advance in some key scenarios. So yeah, I've got them as 3rd here. And then I have the Rays 4th.
I think I do too.
Yeah.
I'm just going Yankees slightly above and predicting that the Yankees, like you could tell me the Rays win the division, but those teams have to match up in a divisional or a championship series. And I'm probably leaning New York when they get to the playoffs.
It's the Rays for me. And then 5th is the Phillies.
So you got 2 of those NL East teams out there.
Yeah. Phillies, I'm in now. Like they've got it figured out. Don Mattingly was their shadow backup manager in case anything went awry with the regime they started the year with. But they had a good backup plan for it. That's foresight right there by the Phillies organization. And it's working out for them. And now that they will probably be aggressive at the trade deadline and have an even more stacked pitching staff by the end of it, I think they will be very dangerous by the time this rolls. I only have one American League team, and it's the Rays.
Okay. It is very funny that like Don Mattingly, well, the son is the GM, his son, Don Mattingly. So like, he's like, yeah, Dad, you can be the manager when this other guy, but like, forget the nepotism angle. It's working out for them. And they did. Sometimes we see that in hockey more so, but sometimes you do just change the voice when you know a team is just like, they're more capable than this. And they made a change. And it's hard to sit here and say now, like, do I think it's fair to fire a manager as early as they did? Not really, but also it's hard to argue with the results. So you can't really say that they did anything other than the exact right thing at that moment. Braves or Phillies. I kind of want to say Phillies until the Braves. It's not the pitching and the injury stuff for the Braves for me. It's more like, as much credit as I give their lineup, again, maybe I'm overrating 6 games with the Cardinals, but like they didn't show quite the punch I thought they would in those 2 series against St. Louis. So
it's fair.
I will say the same things that you're saying about the Phillies are the reason I'll go Phillies 5. But I was Rays 4, Yankees 3, Brewers 2, Dodgers 1. I think it's a Dodgers-Yankees World Series matchup as of right now, and I'll I'll be rooting for the little guy. We want the little guy New York Yankees to beat the big bad Dodgers just to give us a different champion if that's the matchup. But
no, someone else will do it. Aaron Boone will do his thing and screw something up, and the Rays
will go on a podcast
about it. Yeah, exactly. And Ryan Cashman will tell us, no. He's fine. We're not going to.
The Brewers. Here's what I'll say about the Brewers. They need to make a splash. Like, they need to be the team that everybody's talking about after the deadline.
Okay.
Like if it's a Tarek Skubal splash, or it's a Fernando Tatis Jr. splash, or it's that'd
be interesting.
They need to make a move to be like, yep, we're gonna go for it, and that will set up the NLCS against the Dodgers and let the chips fall. Like, that would be fun for baseball if the Brewers, because they have so many things going for them, that could maybe be something that could put them in the same conversation with the Dodgers.
Call or text us. Who's your top 5 MLB teams? 875-5847 here on The Big Show. Under the Bus coming up next. This guy is, I'm sure, not very likable right now on the English radio stations across the pond, and for good reason. That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. All-Star break continues for both the Cardinals and the Royals. They'll be back to action on tomorrow as the Cardinals start a road trip. They take on the Arizona Diamondbacks for a 8:40 Central Time first pitch. Cardinals head into the break at 50-45, one game back in the NL wild card race. Again, 8:40 tomorrow for first pitch between Cardinals and Diamondbacks. You can hear it right here on KTGR. Royals currently holding what is tied for the worst record in Major League Baseball at 38-59. Will start up play again tomorrow against the Padres coming to Kauffman Stadium. 7:10 first pitch. Seth Lugo announced as the starter for that game tomorrow for the Royals. World Cup matchup is set. It'll be Argentina and Spain Sunday at 2 o'clock in New Jersey after Argentina defeated England yesterday by a score of 2-1. Major League Soccer action kicks back up tonight, and St. Louis City plays host to Sporting Kansas City in a rivalry matchup. 7:30 kickoff at Energizer Park this evening. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with the Boone County Office of Emergency Management, reminding you to be Boone County ready. Visit ready.boonemo.gov.
I'm tracking a quiet night after storms settle down past sunset. Temperatures falling to the low 70s with mostly clear skies tonight. We will be hot and humid again tomorrow with a heat index in the mid-90s. Fewer storms to cool us off during the day, but an isolated pop-up with heavy downpours are possible tomorrow. We will be drier this weekend with the heat index near 100 degrees both Saturday and Sunday. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hello. What are you up to from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern for the next few years?
Well, that's pretty specific. Why? What's up?
What if we went back home? What if we tried going back to ESPN Radio?
Wow, back to where it all began. Who would I be doing the show with?
What part of we didn't you understand? Me. You'd be doing the show with me.
I got to think about that then.
The Golegs are back. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11, starting August 3rd on KTGR.
Hi, y'all. I'm Stacey Fitzpatrick. I'm the interior design coordinator with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors. I think a couple of trends that we're seeing is that real estate still tends to be a little high, and so we're seeing an increase in remodeling because people have lived a lot of life in that house and they can't move that, or they love their location and they can't change that, and so they're staying put and making their current homes into more of what they want them to be. If I can help make that process easier, that's what I'm here for. I think if someone is needing a project done, but they are worried about budget or not sure how much it's going to cost, I think we would talk about how we could potentially break it into phases, keeping the end product in mind. Talk to True Sun about a free estimate and ask about our financing options for your next project.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
My name is Cornell Dillard. For many years, I was stubborn from getting a hearing aid because of the stereotype. I went to hearing aid consultant because they're not trying to move a product. They want to work with you to make sure that you can benefit from their services. And I must say I was not disappointed. And I regretted all the years I let my pride interfere with my ability to hear what I'm hearing today.
Hearing Aid Consultants in Allmaker Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. Online at hearingaidconsultants.com.
I'm Austin Ilsley with AI Painting Plus. What we really value about working with Zimmer is the thoroughness and the research and the data they present us with. And that kind of information is just invaluable for small business, really just trying to be wise with their marketing spend. Trust their process because their process takes a little time. And when you give them the time to do what they do best, it truly works.
I like Zimmer because they put me in my dad's commercials.
You know business, we grow business. ZimmerCommunications.com.
The best barbecues start with the best grills. And at the American Outdoor Brands Factory outlet in Columbia, you'll find Gorilla pellet, gas, and charcoal grills, along with outdoor kitchen options that'll make your patio everyone's favorite hangout on game day. Right now, all grills are 20% off in store, plus their scratch and dent section offers hundreds of dollars off select grills. Remember, every barbecue starts with a better grill. The American Outdoor Brands Factory outlet is a quarter-mile north of I-70 at Route C.
You're going to learn guitar, gonna remodel the bathroom, gonna start gaming again. You're also going to spend way too much money. If you're a wannabe hobbyist, get some help at Family Pawn. You'll save big on instruments, gaming consoles, tools, or, whatever you're into right now. If and when it doesn't work out, just sell it back and wait for your next great idea. Visit FamilyPawn.com.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Thomas Tuchel, head coach for England, said after they lost to Argentina 2-1, blowing the 1-0 lead, no regrets on the tactical decision he made to bring on an extra defender, subbing off an attacking player for a defender with something like 30 minutes left to try and see out the 1-0 win, essentially. This is the same guy that criticized his team coming off the field after they gutted out a win against Norway to advance the semis. He's saying, not good enough. We need to be better. And then he is not better himself, likely cost his team the match against Argentina with the decision he made, and he says no regrets. Okay. Yeah. English sports talk host today, having a field day, I'm sure, with this guy.
So he went too defense oriented and subbed off a scoring player. Is that what the thought is there? And I guess once it's tied, then it's like, well, we're not going to score again. It's almost like in baseball, you go to the hands team, you sub in all the glove first guys, right, and try to hold that lead. And then when you don't, you have to score another run. It's like, well, we got a bunch of light hitting infielders and outfielders in here now, and we can't score. And so you're pretty much doomed. Yeah, I think it's worse because of his previous commentary about like riding the guys a little bit hard after a win. And then it's like, it comes off very Ron Washington. Well, it's nothing I did. Yeah. Anything I did wrong. Right. I don't know about that.
It definitely was. And under the bus to Gary Trent Jr., the NBA investigating this 4-year, $64 million deal.
How would it feel if you had the contract of a lifetime, like you finally made it in your field, and then the powers that be are like, actually, we have to investigate this because there's no way that you're deserving of what they're willing to pay you. They must be trying to do something illegal. Like, dang it. Do I really suck that bad?
The NBA says so, apparently. Or
like, there are 7-footers that get $10 million a year all the time who just they average 2 points a game and they stink. Gary Trent's like, why am I the one getting looked at? Jeez.
This is a pretty sweet shirt that they're going to give away at the Cardinals game a week from tomorrow when they're back home for the first time. Yeah.
I saw they're giving away 15,000 of them, and it's a Friday game. I promise you there will be good attendance for that and folks waiting outside the gates to be excited about the Jordan Walker Home Run Derby T-shirt that they're giving away. So that's it's a good-looking shirt. I honestly think they should do the giveaway, but then sell them online, man. People buy those things, but yeah, they're really cool. And so good for the Cardinals to like, okay, mid-season, something cool has happened. Let's lean into it, just like they did when Tarps Off was going down, and said, hey, let's give people a chance to continue the joy and the celebrating of Jordan Walker with that cool T-shirt giveaway on the 24th.
I love that it has the quote on there. They don't boo nobody.
Don't boo nobodies, so they must be booing for a reason.
It's awesome. That'll be a fun giveaway coming up a week from tomorrow when the Cardinals take on the Reds. Up next, how do we feel about Bill Connolly, our friend over at ESPN? He has an idea for how the college football playoff should expand, and he says that they need to take notes from how the World Cup did it just this year. That's next.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay, are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sticklin McDonald.
And I'm Charlie Sticklin with the Sticklin and Sticklin Law Firm.
And I'm Mizzou Softball's Natalie Touche. At Sticklin and Sticklin, all we do is personal injury.
We've earned millions for our clients since 1991.
On the diamond, I trust my team. Off the diamond, I trust Sticklin and Sticklin. Don't let the insurance companies strike you out. Let Sticklin and Sticklin go to bat for you. Sticklin and Sticklin, it's a home run.
Hosting a garage sale. You spend hours moving tables and boxes. Your hands cramp from peeling and pricing 300 stickers. You wake up at 4 a.m. on a Saturday, simply so you can wait for that generous $3 offer on a softball glove that cost you $100. Take your used sports equipment to Play It Again Sports. They'll help you sell or trade in the gear your athlete has outgrown and turn it into something useful for next season. No haggling necessary. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first so you don't finish last. PlayItAgainSportsColumbiaMo.com.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, Mid-Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Today we heard the first public comments from LeBron James on his NBA free agency. Since announcing he was leaving the Lakers, he didn't offer any clues to his thought process regarding his next team, but he did have some fun with fans about teams linked to him. Said he heard the 76ers, he heard the Warriors. They are among the leaders for James, along with the Cavaliers, Heat, and Timberwolves. Minnesota gives him the best chance to win now, believes ESPN's Kendrick Perkins.
They moved the needle for me, especially after them getting LaMelo Ball. When you look at their roster and what they have, LeBron James fits perfect with that starting lineup. He fills that void that they're missing since losing Julius Randle. They have great play that's going to come in off the bench. I love what Jay McDaniels is going to bring to the table.
NBA is investigating Gary Trent Jr.'s 4-year deal to re-sign with the Bucks for possible salary cap circumvention. Baseball Reds righty Chase Burns, amid a breakout season, agreed to a 7-year, $105 million extension. NHL forward Connor McMichael signing a 6-year, $40 million contract with the Blues.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
From Faro. 15 to the 10, to the house. Bush. Back to the wall, and it's got her. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers. This is the big show, baby. Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is the Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
We had our top 5 MLB teams at 4:25. A little bit later on, after we're done at the show, you can listen back on the podcast and see who your top 5 teams would be compared to ours. 875-KTGR if you want texters in. We'll have our bottom 5 coming up at 5:25. I had the Royals, I know, at least in my list last time. And, well, no real reason to take them out, it would seem, based on how things have gone. So we'll get to that. And we'll also get to, here in just a little bit, Bill Conway's idea to expand the college football playoff, but do it kind of like how the World Cup did it. And his argument saying that that would be the way to realistically and honestly, fairly do college football playoff expansion. We'll discuss that coming up in a little bit. Call or text us 875-KTGR. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the top 5 at 5 on the Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Well, the All-Star break for the Cardinals still goes on one more day before they set out to play in Arizona tomorrow night to start off the second half, if you will. But I kind of have this thought from the week of the Cardinals sort of getting back to that zone where they're kind of the villains again. They're kind of the team that everybody either loves to hate or they just can't stand them, so they hate them anyway. Like, used to be the Cardinals always won, so they were well hated. I feel like I've seen a little bit of this energy from various media outlets kind of complaining about the Jordan Walker and kind of digging on Cardinals fans. Like, it almost feels like it used to again. I think the Cardinals have a long way to go in the standings in October success to get it back to that point. But I don't know. It felt a little bit like the days of old this week.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
How bad does it have to feel for Gary Trent Jr., who signed a $64 million contract over 4 years in the NBA, and have it come out that the NBA is investigating the deal for potential salary cap circumvention? I guess they're giving Trent too much money for what his skill level is. That's got to be kind of a rough feeling. Like, the NBA gives away bad contracts all the time. Why is Trent the one that is getting the finger pointed at him? I don't think that's quite fair.
Number 3.
There's Jordan for 3. Yes!
Speaking of contracts, I just saw this come down the wire from the St. Louis Cardinals that their top pick, number 13 overall in this weekend's draft, Trevor Condon, has already put pen to paper and signed with the organization. He was a Tennessee Volunteers commit, but in the post-draft conversation with reporters on the phone last weekend, he said, yeah, I will be playing. And there was no doubt, and now even less doubt, because he has officially signed with the Cardinals.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Double speaking of contracts, we've seen the Blues with a 6-year contract for Connor McMichael to an average annual value of $6.75 million. Yeah, that's a big noted deal for the St. Louis Blues, who signed the 25-year-old to a long-term deal after acquiring him from the Washington Capitals in that Jordan Kyrou trade. So the Blues, they're at least deciding the way that they're looking to build for the future.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face, slap!
More news recently dropped that I don't know if it becomes applicable in Major League Baseball because of the potential work stoppage. But if the 2027 season starts on time, the Cardinals and Cubs are going to play really early in the season at Wrigley, like in the month of March.
That's the Big Show's top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Yeah, call or text us 875-KTGR. First of all, the questions are, I was watching all of the schedule releases today and like, oh yeah, here's mark your calendars. And I was like, I'm going to have to throw away that calendar once I find out that there's no baseball next year.
The
But
best
anyway,
part of a potentially delayed season now for me is that the Cardinals and Cubs won't have to play in March at Wrigley because that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I think it is.
Like,
yeah.
What are we doing? Why would we eat? What are we doing? They don't play at all in Wrigley past July 4th weekend, which again, they're given to Cards Cubs, which I'm actually cool with. I wonder if at some point it makes more sense to do it at Busch, but I'm fine with it. I think it's a pretty cool thing that the last 3 years you've had the Cardinals and Cubs over July 4th and it's been at Wrigley. Like that feels very, I don't know, feels very
it's back
Americana
there,
to
and I
me.
think that's right. Yeah.
I think that's fine. I don't know if the Cardinals feel a certain way because they like, oh, would we have gotten good attendance for that? I don't know, but I think it is a fun way to mark the calendar. I do not find the other series at Wrigley because you only get 2 this year. Now in the balanced schedule era, you only get 2 each year. The other one's in March, where it's going to be, I don't know, 35 degrees potentially. What are we doing?
Problem. That's their problem.
No, but that's the problem of you need to reserve a series for there. You have to, first of all, in my opinion, play Cards Cubs one time in September. In 2027, it's not on the schedule at all.
No.
And it's last on the schedule at Busch in mid-August.
Yeah.
That's a joke. Number 2, I think there should be one series at Wrigley, one series at Busch, Cards Cubs, following the trade deadline. Like I think divisional games should be played in that range. I know that this is a result of the balanced schedule in Major League Baseball. And yeah, I guess it's fine that you get to play every team every year, but I don't think you need it. I don't think you need to be playing as many interleague games as they do. And so I'm not a fan, and I'm especially not a fan with how the schedule lines up next year in the event that they get the season started on time. So that's my soapbox. I think it stinks. Because I want to enjoy either going or seeing Cards Cubs at Wrigley, not in the month of March. Like do it in September, do it when the games matter, do it in August. I mean, March is just, it's not right. It shouldn't be. The team that we'll see play in March is completely different by the end of the season, and there's not a single series for that rivalry in the month of September of 2027. I haven't looked yet, Andy, but I bet we played this game last year, and I batted 1,000. I bet if I were to look at the Yankees 2027 schedule, I will find the Boston Red Sox on that schedule in the month of September. And if I don't, it's probably because they don't think there's going to be a season. So why does it matter?
So you're going to find it. You're going to try and see what the Yankees and Red Sox have.
I'm going to make that attempt.
Okay.
And look at that, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. Guess who plays each other? I'm batting 1,000 with this take. They would never do it to the Yankees and Red Sox. Not one time will you ever see that. Every year with the Cardinals and Cubs, it doesn't get the same treatment.
Man,
I'm fired up. I could predict it to a T. I do it every year. What is it? Why can't we get a rivalry that has that type of history to get the same credence when it comes to potentially during a pennant race? Maybe people don't think the Cardinals are going to be in it, but they're in it now. They're basically tied in the standings with the Cubs. So I think
almost.
it's a joke.
It's
absolutely frustrating that this happens every year.
Oh yeah, March is too early.
It's ridiculous.
But
April would be bad too.
We're not going to be playing baseball till May anyway, so they'll rework it.
It's possible, and I'll be upset about that.
Yeah.
But they would never, ever, ever do it to the Yankees and Red Sox. And I bet you could think of other rivalries that they probably wouldn't do it either. I'm gonna guess Dodgers Giants gets a September series. What do you think? Yankees Red Sox was number 1 with a bullet. But
yeah,
would you be as bold as I was with that prediction?
Dodgers Giants. I'll say that it is in September.
Is that the secondary of like all the rivalries, non-Cards Cubs, when you think of baseball rivalries?
Yeah, probably. I think historically, yes, I believe so. I would put Dodgers Giants in there based on.
Is there another one I'm missing that I should go to before?
I don't know
this one.
Think so. I think that's the one.
I don't think so, really.
I was trying to think of anyone involved with the Braves, like the Braves and the Phillies, maybe. Like I don't know, but maybe that's another divisional one. But I do think Dodgers Giants. Like I've been to a Dodgers Giants game in San Francisco, This was years ago, but the boos were they were loud in San Francisco for every single Dodgers player.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's died down.
So
do we have a verdict?
I do not see it on there though. They play the D and again, they would never do it to Yankees, Red Sox, never in a million years.
No.
But this case they have, and the reason appears to be, and again, this doesn't make any sense to me either, but the Dodgers play the D-backs 7 times out of the final 10 games of their season.
Yeah.
It's just
that's half their divisional games against that one team in the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
They credit that they loaded up September with divisional. They go Padres, and then later you got those 7 against the D-backs, and they also have Rockies. The one divisional opponent they don't appear to have. Well, they don't have the Giants. But still, man, I just don't like the balanced schedule. I think that's more than anything. That's what it comes down to, is that the balanced schedule creates almost this imbalance where, like, if you had to fit pieces and parts in there, it becomes more difficult to figure out a way to make everything line up nice and neat and sweet. So I don't know. That's my soapbox rant. My Cardinals Cubs deserves Red Sox Yankees status rant, but I was ignored for another year. So
we get Cardinals Royals to open up Busch Stadium next year, presumably.
Sure, why not?
If
it's just brain dead
on April Fool's Day.
We don't need that. We don't need it that early, but that's fine. I mean, opening day, the Cardinals have opened against interleague teams on opening day before. They play the Blue Jays on opening day. We've seen that. We've seen the Rays. My preference, though, would be, again, that's another kind of rivalry to save for the summer. Like, if people are going to be going to opening day anyway, I don't really care what the matchup is on opening day. It's the first game. I'm fired up about it. You know?
They put the Twins there this year, whoever it was, and like
there's the Rays, the Twins. Like, save it for baseball weather when we want to see these matchups. And March is not baseball weather. I get why you have to do it. Why they've moved to start the season about a week early so that they can get it done a week early, so they can start the wild card series in September and like get it done.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm complaining about the schedule. Don't love it.
Call or text us if you have schedule complaints. 875-5847 here on The Big Show with Andy and Brendan. Maybe we have CFP complaints. I mean, we've had a history of those, but
almost always.
But here's the thing. Bill Connolly might have the answer. Our friend from ESPN joins us regularly here on the show during the season, and he's also soccer guy. We've had him on for World Cup talk during this World Cup. And since the World Cup expanded from 32 to 48 during this last cycle, Bill Connolly, being the expert, really the only expert that could really have a good read on both situations, tried to put both situations in place and say, okay, how could we expand the CFP by aligning it with what the World Cup did? And it's a great piece. You can go and check it out at ESPN.com. But essentially, the gist is that the World Cup expanded by not like you would think that, oh, we should put more deserving teams in, things like that. But no, the World Cup, the way that it allocates its bids is that it's very similar to how almost college sports is set up. There are federations or conferences, if you will, CONCACAF, UEFA, CONMEBOL, which is South America. There's the African nations. There's Asia. There's Oceania, which is like Australia and the islands in the Pacific and things like that. Those are essentially the conferences. And the way the World Cup doles out the bids is that every federation gets a certain number of bids. So I think it was like 16 for UEFA this time around, and Africa got like 10. CONCACAF got 4. Like it expanded from what it once was, but it was based on giving almost an equal number of extra bids to every single federation. And Bill Connolly justified that being correct as pointing to a lot of the so-called upsets that we had in the World Cup this year. You know, the teams like Cape Verde making it to the round of 32 and pushing Argentina to the brink, like Congo DR doing the same thing. And the fact that we had some key moments from some nations that don't necessarily get those moments in the sunlight. And while, yes, there were teams that were left out from Europe, such as Italy and others that were ranked in the top 40 of the world rankings, but did not qualify because they didn't grab one of their federation's bids during the qualifying process. Well, them's the breaks. Like, sorry, you didn't qualify. And so, like, he tried to equate it to what college football could do, and not necessarily giving every conference the same number of bids. Like, there's still a tiered system to it. SEC should get probably more teams in. The Big Ten should get more teams in.
Yeah.
But he maybe said, why aren't we letting every group of 5 conference have an auto bid? Is that really that much worse than letting in 22nd ranked Tennessee, Illinois, or Michigan, or Arizona State, whoever it is? Like, is it really that much worse?
Let's get into this. I think my starting point, and you can tell me this is the wrong way to look at it, but my starting point, as much as like World Cup, we can make this tie in, and that's the reason we're talking about it. I think what feels natural to tie in is college basketball, because obviously they do have an auto bid system for their postseason where no matter how small of a conference you are, you're getting a shot at March Madness. We've talked over the years at length about how football and basketball in college are very different sports in the way that we determine the champion. But this notion that in a very uneven playing field, this notion that everybody theoretically can have a chance to play for a championship in FBS, I think that would almost be a uniting factor, because there would be something in it for everyone. And like, what's the problem with having a team that is ranked at the very tippy? If we're going to do this expansion thing to a level of like 24, where we're like, well, this is fundamentally different than anything we've ever seen for football. Anyway, what's wrong with having it be a David versus Goliath thing in round 1, where the teams ranked, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, are playing the bottom feeders, or they're not really bottom feeders. They're the best of the rest. They're the teams that are in small conferences that we don't give a fair shake to, but that could get an opportunity to get their teeth kicked in if that's what they want, or maybe surprise us. And if it would be a 24 field specifically, you'd be talking about teams ranked in that next tier, because there'd be a bye system to it, right? So there'd be teams that are like, because my first thought on that would be, well, don't do it because the first round games are going to be a bloodbath. I think most of those top teams are going to beat the tar out of them. And like, unlike basketball, you're wasting a week for this. Like, they got to recover. Like, you don't want to get guys injured in a 55-0 blowout. But if you're thinking about it, what would it be? Number 9 against number 24? Is
Correct.
That how it breaks down?
That's how it is.
And so you can do still like a CFP ranking style system, but the auto bids are broken down by conference. So how many conferences are there actually?
There's 10.
How many conferences would get in that? I guess it's group of 5 plus the big boys. Is that
so again, there's 4 big boys, right? There's ACC, Big 12, Big 10, SEC.
Not necessarily in that order, but yes,
correct. Not now. It's essentially now a group of 6 because the Pac-12 is back. So like, you've got that aspect of it as well. That in this current format, the top 4 or the auto bids go to the Power 4 conferences. Whoever wins those conference games gets it now, and that's even automatic. That's like they changed that to where Duke would have been in if they were able. It's not the 5 highest ranked conference champions anymore.
Which is why the ACC has to make sure to change their rules so they get 2 deserving teams in their final, which is going to piss off a coach or 2, but is, for me, objectively correct. They have to make sure that they don't end up in a Duke situation,
right?
Because the rules have changed around that.
And then it's 1 group of 5 conference champion, whoever is the highest ranked. And so you'd be adding in 5 teams essentially that are from group of 5.
Yeah.
That would be more than likely at the very bottom of the rankings,
right?
The seed lines.
You would do it seed lines just like March Madness, and like sometimes those little plucky teams like a Miami of Ohio, if they had won their tournament right, they ended up with an at-large. But like Miami of Ohio could have run the table and been an auto bid, but they still would have been right around that at-large line.
Right.
And so that's just where they would play, right? That there could be a team in the Sun Belt that goes 13-0 and everybody thinks they're great. And they might not be the 24th seed. They might be a little bit higher on that because it's just based on, the quality of their resumes at that point, but they would get a bid. So my thought is they're at a 12-team playoff. They'd be adding 5 little guys and then 7 at-larges relative to it, or are they going to break it down by conference and say, we're going to add specifically this many in the SEC, this many in the.
So I actually would not be in favor of that. That's not what Bill Connolly said would be how he would do it. It would say so it's 10 auto bids and then 14 at larges if we're doing a 2014 bracket. So he went through what it would have been last year. At the 9-24 matchup, we would have had Alabama versus Kennesaw State, which when you hear that matchup, you think, oh, bloodbath. But
you
actually,
think 1 versus 16 seed in March Madness.
Yeah,
is what you think.
Exactly. Yeah. But honestly, looking at SP Plus, there may be a chance for Kennesaw State on the right day to be able to pull that off. And so that can be how it breaks down. So they
think
won't do
college
this,
football
but
fans would win relative to what they're gonna do in a 2014 playoff, which is either kill all the conference championships, do the Drinkwitz model of, hey, our conference championship weekend is actually a play-in where we're gonna basically have half our league is eligible and they're gonna play these games to kind of seed themselves or whatever they want to end up doing. This idea would be better for fans, but it will not happen because it gives a disproportionate amount of power to the little guy relative to the people that are making the decisions here. But imagine the unity of sport that would come out of that, which is the way we feel about March Madness. And you're right. I think most of the time Alabama is going to beat Kennesaw State by 4 touchdowns. But even if you get one of those, 10 versus 23, 11 versus 22 on down the list to be a close game or an upset, heaven forbid, that now has every college football team coming into a season going, I have access to this. They're not going to be told that, winning every game and winning my conference isn't enough. I don't know. There's an aspect of that that's endearing. SEC and Big Ten aren't making decisions based on endearing.
No.
So we'll never see it. That's why I did the math. You add 5 auto bids, 7 at larges. That's not proportional to what they're wanting. They're wanting the whole thing, right? They're wanting all these additional at larges to make more money for the big conferences. But that would be a version of expansion as a fan I would support because you get more at larges, but it protects the sanctity of the regular season because now only the top 18 or so are getting in via, I call it at large, but knowing that the conference champions of the big 4 leagues will be within that 18 ranks as well. So there's really, you actually have to do a little bit better than just sneak into a top 25 and you go, hey, I'm in the playoff, which would not be good for the way we view the regular season. So love it, Bill C. As always, he gets it right. They'll never do it in a million years because it doesn't support the things that they are prioritizing, which are not the things as a fan that I would like to see prioritized.
Yeah, he had the line of, if Tony Petitti were in charge of expanding the World Cup, there would be 36 teams from UEFA and out of the 48.
I'm sure that's funny to somebody, but I think UEFA is a side dish at a restaurant. So I have no idea what you're talking about.
From Europe, essentially. I can just say Europe. 36 teams from Europe, and then the remaining 12 are from everywhere else in the world. But honestly, if this happened, and again, you can point to the World Cup being a driver of this.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest, the driver of World Cup expansion was money, not just the money for the federations, but money for whoever is in charge of FIFA, and that's Gianni Infantino and everything like that. But the trickle-down effect of giving access to these group of 5, about to be, or really is now, group of 6 schools, is that it could solve some of the problem of what we've seen with NIL and the transfer portal. A lot of these G5 schools are getting pillaged of their best players, and they're heading over to the Power 4 schools at a much more alarming rate. And so you could stave that at least a little bit more to beef up the power of some of those G5 conferences. So yes, it would make for a much more compelling product. It would make for much more competitive games, not just in the college football playoff, but across the board in college football during the regular season. You might say, well, we're letting in a lot more teams now, so the regular season doesn't matter. There's questions of that, but maybe we get more compelling games because there is more of a possibility that teams in G5 or G6 are going to be more capable of pulling off these upsets because they're able to keep their players because they have a better sales pitch for them. Like that's what we're trying to achieve, I think, with this whole thing.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I just am very down on the possibility of us getting a good outcome to the way that expansion ends up playing out. But it's fun to think about a world in which it didn't have to be that way.
Definitely doesn't have to be. Like if someone had the best interests in the sport in mind, then this would be an idea they 100% consider. But college football has no leader. They have no rules. They have just everybody figuring it out for themselves. Just it's take for me, everything like that. And so we have the system that we're in. But Bill Connolly had a good idea. Thought we'd discuss it and say, yeah, Bill C, keep churning out those good ideas of who should be the college football commissioner in the end. Bill Connolly, 875-KTGR. Give us a call or a text if you want to weigh in on that idea. Should college football playoff expansion mirror a little bit of what the World Cup did by letting more auto bids for some of those lower ranked schools to give them more of a chance to play for something? Give us a call or a text here at 875-KTGR. In the meantime, we will have our bottom 5 MLB teams. Had the top 5 earlier. Now it's time to bring things down to the very bottom. Who is the worst of the worst in Major League Baseball? We'll update our list next here on The Big Show.
This the latest edition of The Big Show. Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now wherever you get your apps. Teachers, you're the real all-stars, but every school year you're stuck having to pay out of your own pockets to fully stock your classrooms. Let's change that. KTGR's Clear the List is giving Mid-Missouri teachers a chance to get the supplies they need for their students. Submit your school supply wish list at ktgr.com. We'll post it, and listeners can help stock your classroom by purchasing items directly from your list. If you're a teacher, get your list in now at ktgr.com. KTGR's Clear the List, thanks in part to All Seasons Roofing.
Summer heat can put extra stress on your irrigation system. And if your controller settings aren't adjusted properly, you can end up with an unhealthy lawn. That's why now is the perfect time for a professional system check from Lubring Irrigation Services. From adjusting controllers for summer conditions to sprinkler alignment, Lubring helps keep your system running at its best. No shortcuts, no guesswork, just quality work that lasts. Call the pros who do it every day at LubringIrrigation.com.
Sometimes it's nice to have less options. At The Only Facial in Columbia, they do one facial exceptionally well. Their signature 60-minute treatment features 11 expertly curated steps, personalized to your skin and designed for real lasting results. From cleansing, dermaplaning, and exfoliation to LED light therapy, microcurrent, hydration, and SPF, every detail is included. One facial, one price, no tips, no upsells, no stress. Maintaining healthy, beautiful skin has never been easier. The Only Facial, beautiful skin made simple. Book your facial today at theonlyfacial.com.
Hi, this is Joanne. We've had our homeowner's insurance with Phyllis Nichols since she became a State Farm agent in 1996. After a storm came through, she turned the claim in on our behalf. When there was a hiccup with the claim process, she or the team were available to get the process running smoothly again. They updated the homeowner's policy with the new roof date and ensured the qualified shingle discount was added. Phyllis and her team remembered to ask about life events that we don't remember to tell them.
Window panes. You see a squirrel run across the yard. You grab the gun, head outside, take aim, and miss. Turns out a window is a lot easier to hit than a squirrel. This is Silas Kuntz from Kuntz Glass. We can fix your broken windows, patio doors, or foggy glass, but we can't fix your bad aim. As Columbia's oldest and wisest glass shop, Kuntz Glass is ready for life's little window panes. Visit us at kuntzglass.com.
Kuntz Glass, you can see through it, we do it.
What I love the most about Zimmer Communications is that I'm always busy learning.
We all want to see each other succeed. I think that's a huge part of working here and huge benefit of working here.
There are a lot of jobs in the marketing field, and this is really a place where you can start your career.
So many helpful people around you to help you be successful was really awesome for me.
Something that I never thought that I would do before.
If you're thinking about starting a new career, I really suggest looking at Zimmer Communications.
Sales positions are open now. Apply today at ZimmerCommunications.com.
What happens when a construction crew and a group of landscapers walk into a bar? They grab some fantastically delicious burgers, crispy fries, cold drinks, even colder air conditioning, and take advantage of the indoor pool. See, Billiards on Broadway was built by people who know that the best way to cool off is to chill out. A roofer and a concrete crew walk into Billiards. What happens next is up to you.
Boogie on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
Call your shot at billiardsonbroadway.com. The parking lot meetup. Okay, park under a light, text someone, anyone. Should have probably case netted him. How loud can a human scream? Oh, this is probably how true crime podcasts start. Wonder if that bear spray is still in my trunk. Ugh. What kind of person drives a Dodge Dart? You could skip all that and just go to Family Pawn, get cash in hand, and sell your stuff safely and quickly without winding up in a Netflix documentary.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
FamilyPawn.com.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
You can call or text us here if you want to weigh in on college football playoff expansion, on Cardinals and Royals starting things back up tomorrow as the trade deadline looms, and your top 5 and bottom 5 MLB teams here on The Big Show. Call or text us 875-KTGR. Leave a comment on YouTube and on Facebook. Top 5, we pretty much had mostly the same teams. Dodgers and Brewers 1 and 2. Mixed in the Braves. You didn't have the Braves in there. We both had the Phillies. You had the Yankees. We both had the Rays. But do we agree on the bottom 5 here coming up?
I don't know. I'm going to guess that we might have some differences as well, but you want to start at number 30? How do you want to do this?
Yeah, let's do it. Start at the very bottom.
Start from the very bottom. Tell me who the worst team in baseball is.
It is not one of the two teams that has the worst record in Major League Baseball.
Okay. By the way, just before we jump in, who has the worst record in Major League Baseball?
It is tied between the Royals and the Angels.
Okay. But you're not going to give it to either of those teams.
No, I'm not. Still the Rockies. Still just like it.
No hope.
No, nothing. Except for Tyler Putnam. Hey, in a few years, you might have him ready to go. And
they just draft him though.
They did. Yeah, it's going to take some time.
Be a minute.
It will. But no, nothing really to hang your hat on. That I can't name 5 Rockies.
Hunter Goodman.
I'm out. I'm tapped out.
Hunter Goodman a second
Austin Gomber still there?
I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah. Let me look and see.
Yeah, that'd be my other guess to see if he's still there.
No, hasn't pitched for him this year. He had a 7.5 ERA with him last year.
Yeah.
Charlie Condon is in their minor league system.
That sounds right.
Not related to Trevor Condon, who just signed his contract with the Cardinals today. I think isn't like Mickey Moniak is there. Was like a one-time highly touted pick, and then has finally made it to the big leagues and bounced around. I'm kind of embarrassed that I can't come up with anybody. I don't think the Cardinals have played him yet, or if they did, it's not sticking, because normally I'm at least able to remember some guys.
They have not played yet. They played twice in the month of. Well, actually, no. They play them. I think once in August and once in September, if I'm correct. But
they still have like
still
Senzatella maybe is still pitching for them, but their lineup is like a blank canvas to me in my head. I cannot remember almost anything about it. They've got one of those infielders, Ezekiel Tovar is like a shortstop or second baseman.
Yeah.
If he's still around, but I truly can't come up with any.
They're not a hopeful team right now. They're just
okay. But would we do a lot better with the Angels?
No, we don't. No, they're my second worst. Like,
okay,
they're just also just kind of piddling around, and
Mike Trout.
Much hope.
I could name Mike Trout.
You can name Mike
Reed Detmers. I could name Reed Detmers because I really thought
it's going to be a big trade piece, right?
Yeah, they could get a lot for him. John Mozeliak, I'm just saying, if you want to help your old team out, that would be the guy to trade to the Cardinals. And I would spend prospects for him because you're getting a guy with multiple years of team control. But yeah, he was like a perfect buy low in the offseason, and I guess Perry was too busy getting fired for other stuff and didn't consider trading him. But maybe that was the one good thing he did. And he said, no, we're not trading Reed Detmers, but he's a stud. But yeah, the Angels don't have a ton going for him. So I would put the Angels below the Royals as well. Like I would go 30 Rockies, 29 Angels.
Yeah.
Record wise, the Royals are tied for the worst.
Yeah,
so
that's where I put the Royals.
Avoid it?
No, I can't avoid it at that point. Like, yeah, the Royals need to be at third worst because it should also be a little punitive to them. Like they shouldn't be here. They should not be on this list.
In a year, too, where like it's not been very difficult to be a middling AL team, they have found a way to not be among that group.
Right.
That's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, we punish teams that we expected them to be 15, 20 games better than where they are at the moment. It's not
I
to say
thought
that
they would be a 500 club.
Right. And they are not that at all at the moment. And they will not finish the season that way. They're going to try their darndest to not lose 100 games. So for that, yeah, you got to put them here. You love some of the players they have. Like Bobby Witt's going to be here a long time. Jack Caglione too. That's the hope. You see the future. You still see what this team could be. But pieces didn't fit this year, and there were some key injuries that contributed to that, but also just ineffectiveness from guys that they were relying on. And so maybe that means they have to rely on other guys at this point. So there's a lot of soul searching that needs to be done. And for the moment, that means they got to be on this list. And I think, no lower than the teams that have no hope, but a fair place to put this team.
Yeah, it's been pretty miserable for the Royals. I'm looking now in the direction of maybe like based on recency, the Athletics looked a little more like with it for a while. They've lost 9 in a row to get down in this range. I do think they're a little deficient, but you know who's got a worse record still is the Mets.
The Mets are on my list. Yeah, they are.
The Reds have fallen off the pace for sure, but they've still got a little bit more cushion. The teams I'm looking at considering here, the Mets, the Athletics, and honestly, even if the record, I'm trying to count the Giants are down here too. That has been a Royals-esque disaster, honestly. They're just not quite as pitiful as the Royals. I'm going to go Giants actually as my next team.
Yeah, they're mine too.
Expectations. Like you can't, like Buster Posey, great player, great catcher, is no Yachty behind the plate, but he's the guy in charge. They said, here's our baseball operations department. You have been in this game for so long. Like, we trust you. And I
knew that was going to fail from the start, just so you know.
The Posey thing or the Vitello one?
The Posey thing.
Because I dismissed the, people are worried that he's a college coach. Like, he'll be fine. Like, he knows this game.
Right. Yeah.
I think that there's been an element, though, to it where, he has been a little in over his head. I don't know that. And, a year from now, I could be going great, and I could be looking foolish and reactionary for this take. But, I don't know. It's probably different to motivate a roster of millionaires compared to a roster of, I guess at Tennessee, they were getting some NIL money. But, it's not the same.
No.
And I don't know that Vitello has been the perfect fit for that group, or if it's just taken some time.
I mean, I would think that they're gonna, if it continues the way that it is, that ownership will just be done with it and be like, no, we tried this and we're gonna get out from under it. And if it's him gone, then I think it's also Buster Posey gone. But
yeah, and I don't think they're going to do that right away. I mean, anything could happen, but I feel like they're probably going to give Vittel some time.
We'll see.
To get it going. But yeah, for me, I'll go Rockies 30, Angels, Royals, Giants, and then I would need one more to round it out, and it's either the Mets or the Athletics that get to avoid the distinction.
For me, it's the Mets.
That are on the bad list?
That are fifth worst, yeah.
Again, you could do the same thing with expectations and go, you know what? The A's have lost 9 in a row, but they're still not
that money, man.
Worse, and they have a big bloated payroll. I agree. Athletics kind of were supposed to be a little bit of a rebuildy scenario still, and the Mets have a worse record. So I think that's fair.
And you can chalk it up as, look, the A's take away that 9-game losing streak, and they're still kind of in the mix for a playoff spot. And like it, I don't want one bad stretch that drags down the team's record to be like just the driving force of what their season has been.
No, but it all counts. I mean, you all mix it up.
Right, sure, but it's kind of similar to how, like, and the record still doesn't reflect them being an awesome team yet, but like the Red Sox going on their run. Like the Red Sox may be playing right now like one of the 5 best teams in baseball, like just the way that they are playing the game at the moment. But let's not vault them up into that category of what's happening season long and what could be happening come playoff time. They still need to make the playoffs. But to me, yeah, I was intrigued by the A's. I think it was kind of similar to what we thought would maybe happen to the Cardinals, is that, hey, they'll be competitive for a little bit, and then there's going to be a major jump off the cliff moments and all that. And the Cardinals have staved that off very well this year and remained a competitive team for as long as possible. And we'll see how long that does last. But it kind of happened to this A's group. I like the pieces that they've got. Just, they still are what they are.
They got a ways to go. Yeah.
We have the exact same list.
Yeah, I think it is sometimes easier to be objective about the worst teams because where the criteria is not, there's not a lot of wiggle room. Unless one of us wants to be more punitive toward one team than another, like it's kind of going to be pretty straightforward, I feel like.
Yeah, so we went Rockies as the worst team, then the Angels, then the Royals, then the Giants, and then the Mets. Who is on your bottom 5 list of Major League Baseball teams at the All-Star break? Call or text us 875-KTGR. We'll get to some of your calls and texts and more after this live local sports center.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. The All-Star break will conclude tomorrow for both the Cardinals and Royals. Cardinals begin action once again on the road as they take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. 8:40 first pitch for tomorrow night's game to start the 3-game series. Cardinals are a game back in the NL wildcard race heading into this post-All-Star break stretch at 50-45. Meanwhile, the Royals currently tied for the worst record in baseball at 38-59. Their first series back from the All-Star break is a home series against the San Diego Padres. Seth Lugo makes the start tomorrow night. First pitch at 7:10 at Kauffman Stadium. And Major League Soccer action comes back tonight following the World Cup break that they took. And it is a rivalry matchup in the state of Missouri to kick things off again. St. Louis City SC plays host to Sporting Kansas City tonight at 7:30 at Energizer Park. First meeting between those two clubs this year. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with the Boone County Office of Emergency Management, reminding you to be Boone County ready. Make a plan, stay informed, and sign up for Smart 911 emergency alerts at ready.boonemo.gov.
I'm tracking a quiet night after storms settle down past sunset. Temperatures falling to the low 70s with mostly clear skies tonight. We will be hot and humid again tomorrow with a heat index in the mid-90s. Fewer storms to cool us off during the day, but an isolated pop-up with heavy downpours are possible tomorrow. We will be drier this weekend with the heat index near 100 degrees both Saturday and Sunday. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Over the years, it has meant the Gas House Gang, Stan the Man, Lou Brock, Bob Gibson, The Wizard, Big Mac, Yachty, Waino, and Pujols. All those names, and they provided so many memories. St. Louis Cardinals baseball, most importantly, has meant championship baseball. We'll be describing every play right here on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Gray Bar.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
The best barbecues start with the best grills. And at the American Outdoor Brands Factory Outlet in Columbia, you'll find Gorilla pellet, gas, and charcoal grills, along with outdoor kitchen options that'll make your patio everyone's favorite hangout on game day. Right now, all grills are 20% off in store, plus their scratch and dent section offers hundreds of dollars off select grills. Remember, every barbecue starts with a better grill. The American Outdoor Brands Factory Outlet is a quarter mile north of I-70 at Route C.
Before the sun comes up and long after it sets, ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather keep working for you, gathering the information your family needs to take on the day, alerting you to breaking news and health and safety concerns in our area, plus tracking the latest weather conditions to help you plan ahead. It's everything you need to know from the team you trust most. ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather, where the news comes first.
For their Christmas in July sale, AI Painting Plus went big this year. Picking a sale that would make Santa blush was tough, but 10% off your exterior paint job and 15% off your interior should do it. Exterior paint jobs accepted in July get 10% off. Interior gets 15%. See how much you can save at AIPaintingPlus.com. Santa already did. AI Painting Plus, painting joy into people's homes. With big deals on paint jobs accepted in July, scheduled to be done by the end of the year and this winter.
When you have a property to redevelop or a big renovation that's coming up, you're going to need more than muscle and a couple of choice words. You'll need Wreck and Roll. They bring the dumpsters, the demo crew, and even clean up all the mess. Whatever you need, they roll in, wreck it right, and leave your site good as new. Proudly serving Jefferson City, Columbia, the Lake, and Eldon. When you have a hot mess, don't stress. To get your project rolling, follow Wreck and Roll on Facebook or go to wreckandroll.net.
Life is loud, chaotic, hilarious, and occasionally peaceful. Your life fits you, so why settle for life insurance that fits someone else? At Shelter Insurance, our local agents help you design a personal protection plan backed by award-winning customer service. We're your shield. We're your shelter. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call me, Valerie Nenechuk, 573-615-4090, 615-4090.
It was 9 a.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration answered the call. It was a homeowner with a sewer line issue and a backyard he adored. But Brian's team does non-invasive sewer repair using state-of-the-art tech, including UV light curing resin. Suddenly, it's not a plumbing job. It's CSI Boone County. Sunglasses and David Caruso not included. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
The best barbecues start with the best grills. And at the American Outdoor Brands Factory Outlet in Columbia, you'll find Gorilla pellet, gas, and charcoal grills, along with outdoor kitchen options that'll make your patio everyone's favorite hangout on game day. Right now, all grills are 20% off in store, plus their scratch and dent section offers hundreds of dollars off select grills. Remember, every barbecue starts with a better grill. The American Outdoor Brands Factory Outlet is a quarter mile north of I-70 at Route C.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Well, I assume now, since we're all soccer crazed, that's what the World Cup has done to us this summer. I assume that now we're going to fill up Energizer Park tonight for St. Louis City versus Sporting Kansas City. I mean, rivalry matchup. That's where I assume Brendan's going right after this because he's ready to go. The soccer fanatic is ready to see his local team against the rival.
I love me some city soccer. There's no doubt about that. I will not be in the house tonight, but I really am glad they're playing. I'm glad that they're playing.
They are in fact playing. It should be fun tonight, as this is the first day back for Major League Soccer action in particular, since they took about a month-long break, a little more than that actually, so that they can allow for the World Cup to take place. All the players can filter back into their teams, and so we'll see how that goes for tonight's matchup between City and Sporting, first one of the year. I assume there's probably going to be at least one more coming up later on at Sporting Park. But yes, that'll be happening tonight. I to be honest, I don't even know where both teams are in the standings. That it's been a rough go for both of them. In fact, just generally speaking, just off the top of my head, I'll get us the actual info on that before we go. But I mean, I know that it has been rough sledding for both franchises recently. City had to go through a coaching change mid-season last year, but yeah, not been all that fruitful, at least as far as that's concerned. City at the moment is 12th in the Western Conference, and Sporting Kansas City is last. So, ouch.
Hey, last is pretty bad. They must stink.
Only 11 points compared to St. Louis's 16. There's again 15 teams in the conference. The top 9 make it to the playoffs. So at least City maybe still is holding out some hope for that. They're only 4 points behind, but got some work to do. We'll see if that happens. We did our top 5, bottom 5 MLB teams. Both of us included the Royals as the third worst. We agree that the Cardinals are a good team, but not, deserving of being in the top 5. But Brendan, if you had to put a number on them, what would you say is their ranking amongst major league teams?
Where would they land, huh?
For reference,
all right, so
by win percentage, they're tied for the 9th best record in Major League Baseball.
Huh.
With the White
Sox.
Sox.
The American League doesn't have very many contenders.
No.
I mean, you don't have to go very far. So, yeah, if I were going to – and honestly, when we do this with NFL quarterbacks, sometimes I wish we go deeper because I'm like, here's the context. I'll go Braves 6 because I was really close to putting them 5 over the Phillies. I think I lean Phillies slightly in terms of who's going to be able to win that division. Trying to find teams better. Cubs are better than the Cardinals.
Yeah.
We'll put them 7. But yeah, there's not a lot of other teams with 50 wins in Major League Baseball right now. The Pirates did just get there, but the Cardinals are still ahead of them, and I do think the Cardinals are a better team than the Pirates.
Marlins are there. The White Sox
are there. The Marlins
are
there. I am not ready to say the Marlins are better than the Cardinals. So I will defy the standings there. Guardians is where I feel like Cardinals and Guardians are actually very similar.
Yeah. I'll lean Guardians based on the fact that they do this a bunch.
They do this a bunch, but they also are in a league where it's going to be easier to keep doing it because I don't think they're going to have as much of a difficult path to, I don't know their schedule off the top of my head, but they've got more American League teams than national ones remaining, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And the American League is not nearly as good. So yeah, honestly, the Cardinals are a top 10 team in baseball right now.
I think.
The problem is you're going to have
not going to be in a couple weeks.
Well, that's one possibility. The other thing is those Astros, Mariners, Twins, Red Sox, that whole tier, more of those teams are going to be in the playoffs than aren't potentially. It's just the league that they're in makes it feel a little bit worse. In reality, should the Padres end up being better than the Cardinals or should the Diamondbacks yeah, I would probably say the Cardinals are around 8th or 9th, but there will be a team from below that passes them at least one. The Padres should. They don't have any reason to be as bad as they are standings wise. So the Cardinals right now are a good 2.5 games ahead of San Diego. I'll probably say the Padres are a better team. And that's part of the reason that it's tough to project the Cardinals into a wild card spot and to expect a deadline that prioritizes that. So I'll say, if I put the Padres in there definitively, pick out maybe the Guardians, give me 9th.
I'd say 11th, something like that.
Yeah. Who passes them standings wise?
I mean, probably the Padres. And maybe even the Mariners. Like, are the Mariners going to take off? Like, probably.
Yeah, they're probably better than the Cardinals. I agree.
Like, I don't think the Rangers are. Like, the Rangers feel like a bit of a mirage to me, because they might be selling off at the deadline too.
Yeah. What about the White Sox? They got the same record as the Cardinals, but I kind of would lean Cardinals there.
Yeah, I would too.
Personally.
And I don't want to take away from what the White Sox have done. That's been a fun story, Like the fact that both Chicago teams are fun again, and competing for playoff spots, I think is really good for that town and for the sport. But yeah, I'd say that there will be at least one or two American League teams that rise up and have a better record and have a better shot at not only getting to the postseason, but like loading up to the point where they can advance and things like that. So like the Red Sox are in that tier, the Mariners are in there. And yeah, I think right now the Cardinals are 11th, and we'll see where they end up towards the end. Very clearly a top half of the league team, and have shown that. And I think that holds up even going into next year based on what we see.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause the foundation is pretty well there. And then like you can get creative in an off season. You could say, hey, let's look at the positions of weakness and like what can be done affordably to try to supplement there. I do want to like see the Cardinals play well out of the break to make this an even more difficult discussion. But I think it's going to take a lot of winning to convince me that they're going to do anything other than be very actively listening to some of the trade chips that they have. But like things could change, but I think it would have to be dramatic. Like they went 7-7 in that 14-game stretch that we talked about before the break. They did their job there. I think 7-7 the next 2 weeks. I think they're right about in that sell spot, but I don't know. I'd love to be proven wrong. It's fun to cover a winning baseball team. So we'll see.
It's been a fun year so far. We'll see what happens to it the next few weeks as the trade deadline gets closer and we get back to baseball tomorrow night. Cardinals at Diamondbacks and Royals host the Padres. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Amber and Ian coming up next year on KTGR. Thanks for joining us. He's Brendan. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay,